Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Yes 101's Visual Radio for the Newsfirst team. I'm Dithmini De Silva.
Newsfirst headline.
Expression of interest called from the private sector for the Jaffna airport. Deputy and Assistant Election Commissioners to arrive in Colombo today. New bill to prevent domestic violence. In news overseas, 4 dead as strongest earthquake in 25 years hits Taiwan. And in cricket, day 5 of second test between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh underway. The news in detail. The Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Aviation says expression of interest is called from local and foreign investors for the Jaffna International Airport. Minister Nimalsiripala De Silva says further measures will be taken after selecting a suitable investor. The minister further says the proposal to transfer operations of the Mattal Airport to 2 Indian and Russian companies was forwarded to the Ministry of Finance after submitting the relevant proposal to the Cabinet. In more local news, Deputy and Assistant Election Commissioners have been summoned to Colombo today. Chairman of the Election Commission, RMAL Ratnayaka, says they were summoned to Colombo for a 3-day workshop. He says the aim is to raise awareness for the implementation of the regulation of Election Expenditure Act during the upcoming elections. The assistance of an expert with international experience in the regulation of election expenditure will also be sought for this purpose. The National Election Commission recently said the upcoming presidential election will be officially announced by the end of July or within the first few days of August. Chairman Ratnayaka assures that the presidential polls will be held between the 17th of September and the 17th of October. In other local news, State Minister of Women and Child Affairs Geeta Kumarasinghe says a new bill will be tabled in Parliament to prevent domestic violence. The draft bill introduces many provisions such as the opportunity for a close relative to file a case on behalf of women who are victims of domestic violence. She adds that there are 11 temporary detention centres for abused women centred around the Gampaha, Ratnapura, Colombo, Mathura, Batticaloa, Anuradhapura, Monaragala and Nuwara districts. We have gazetted the Women's Empowerment Bill and presented it to the Cabinet. It will need to be amended again based on a new proposal by the Women Parliamentarians Caucus in Parliament and few changes that were made to the existing provisions. If this bill is passed in Parliament, it will include provisions to establish a National Women's Commission. A bill regarding gender equality was also presented to Cabinet, and we will take measures to gazette it and table it in Parliament.
Gazette කරන්නට සහ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ අනිත් අයට ඒක බෙදා දෙන්නට කටයුතු කරනවා.
International news.
Moving on to international news, a powerful earthquake struck off Taiwan's east coast, killing at least 4 people. Now, the 7.4 magnitude quake caused multiple buildings to collapse in Hualien, the city closest to the epicenter, where rescue efforts are taking place. The strongest tremor to hit the island in 25 years was also felt as far as Taiwan's mountainous interior, which was rocked by huge landslides. In the capital Taipei, footage showed buildings shaking violently. The National Fire Agency said 1 had died and 3 others were injured at a trail around Taroko National Park, named after a landmark gorge just outside Hualien. Now, more than 50 people have been injured, with some trapped in buildings and tunnels around the city.
Sports news.
Now in sports news, today is day 5 of the second test between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Bangladesh only managed to score 178 runs in response to the 531 posted by Sri Lanka during the first innings. Sri Lanka declared the second innings on 157 for 7, setting Bangladesh a target of 511. Bangladesh won 268 for 7 at stumps on day 4, needing 243 runs to win with 3 wickets in hand. And that's a wrap of this edition of Yes 101's Visual Radio. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Dithmini De Silva.